most people think frog fishing, they think, you know, early summer, you know, summer, fall. You know, they think about it late spring, you know, but early spring, that's when I love to pick up the frog. I like to watch that water temperature go from winter, you know, temperatures in the 40s, and I like to watch every degree and decipher what I want to throw. But when it gets to 54 and up and it starts really starting to climb towards that 58, you better believe I'm having a frog tied on. So when I talk frog fishing, the type of frog that I like to throw, it's a hollow belly, collapsible frog that floats on top of the water that you have to control the movement of. You're physically working that bait. And the frog that I use is a frog I designed. There we go. That's a little fella. All right, there's a little guy, but he ate that boom boom frog. All right, hey, first frog fish. I want to show you guys something cool about this frog I got. This is the boom boom frog. You notice a little back, it's got a little patch here. This is called, we call it frog fur, but watch what happens when it grabs its teeth. See that? It grips it, so they have a hard time blowing that frog back out. It really helps you get a better hookup ratio. And that's something unique with our boom boom frog. Obviously, one of the reasons I like throwing a frog so much is because the blow-ups are so dang addicting. It's a bait that you got to make them bite. It's not something you can just throw out and start reeling in and catch fish. I mean, you got to figure out the mood they're in, how they want the bait. This is more of just walk it in open water, walk it over a little bit of cover, slow it down, just see what the fish want. This is early spring frogging right here. I mean, we're getting the first glimpse of green. Water's still really cold. We've had some warm days, so we know fish have moved up. We got overcast conditions. Water temperature is 56 degrees. So most people wouldn't think of picking up a frog this early. Right now it's early April. Fish are far behind, honestly. Fish should be well in the spawn, but we keep getting a couple of warm days followed by cold fronts. I'm kind of targeting these fish that have been lingering around shallow from this heat we had this weekend. I think there's still a big wave coming. We just got to have some stable, sunny weather. So I'm just targeting every little piece of debris. A lot of times when it gets warm and it gets cold, fish tend to get on wood. So you can see there's just a bunch of wood debris, you know, knees from cypress trees and laydowns. And so I'm just kind of detailing a lot of this cover, picking up the few fish that are up shallow already. Go! What? Okay, here's what happened on that one, all right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I took my eye off the opponent. I felt the bite. I didn't even see it. I was like, oh man, that was my fault. Darn it. I was looking around, where am I gonna get a bite at? I didn't expect it right there, but I did. Let's see if it'll bite again. Got him that time. So we knew that fish was there. We just had to do a little better job getting a little timing on it. Beautiful fish. Early spring frog right there on the boom boom frog. That's awesome. Sweet. Go ahead and throw this one back. Always throw back when you miss a bite on a frog. You just never know. In that situation, I wasn't looking the first time. I heard a, and I felt it and I pulled it. It actually had it in its mouth, but I pulled it out. Well, I went ahead and fired back over there and slowed it down, paid attention, stayed focused, watched it eat it, gave it a little bit of a delay and then set the hook. And that was really what was key to hooking that fish. The way I'm fishing is I'm snapping the rod, and every time I snap that rod, the frog does a complete 180. So it's going back and forth, you know, the typical walk the dog action, but I'm creating a little bit of a popping sensation down there. It's making some noise. It gets their attention, especially as this wind kind of picks up a little bit. You got to snap it a little bit harder, but I mean, you can see it. It's really snapping water. Oh my goodness. That was awesome. Look at that fella. That was a blow up and a half. Oh man. They always get you when you least expect it. That was cool. Look, he ate that one good. These fish are starting to get a little more aggressive. I mean, gosh, I can't even hook this dude. There we go, got that one out. Got it. That's the boom boom frog right there. There's some pretty fish. Now, some of the features about this frog, let's let this fish go and I'll talk about it here. Thanks for playing, dude. So, we talked about the frog fur on the back, how it really catches their teeth. You get a blow up like I just got when you least expect it, they hold on to it a little bit longer, allow you to get that hook in them. The harness, it's heavy duty and it's got a little weight to it. That weight allows it to counterbalance like a teeter-totter. So when I snap that rod and I walk that frog, when I snap it, it's gonna give it an extra hop because you've got the one weight on the back that naturally wants to sit like that. And then when you snap it, twitch it, you force it down, this little weight and that weight work against each other, so it gives it an extra hop. The legs are kind of spread out pretty wide, allows the legs to get a lot of good action. Walks really easy. That side is flat. So on both sides of this frog, it's flat. So when I snap it harder, when we got this breeze and stuff, you get more commotion. We also got a rattle in it, and that right there, that's the boom boom frog. So as far as rod and reel is concerned, you know, I'm throwing the Hamar. This guy right here is a 7-to-1 ratio reel. When I'm throwing a frog, I like to generally go with a 7, but it's also one of the baits where you need to have a frog tied on a 6.5, a 7, and an 8.1 if you really want to get serious about it. And here's why. For the most part, a 7 will get you to walk the bait great. It'll bring in the line quick enough if you get a blow up and you miss it and you want to throw back in on it. Now, if you're fishing a situation where you've got cover, a slower retrieve will allow you to walk that frog almost in place. And this frog, because every time I twitch it, it does a complete 180. It'll almost stay in place. So as long as you're not bringing in line as you're doing it, a lot of line, it's gonna go a lot slower towards you. So 6.5-to-1 in those scenarios, 7 overall. And here's when you would need an 8-to-1. The Hamar that I've got on the other rod is when you leave those little deeper banks and you get into those shallow flat areas. What happens now is those fish can't just come up and down on the frog. They actually have to lunge forward. And we lose a lot of fish when that happens because, for one, you get one opportunity on them. You're probably not going to get another strike when that happens. So you better make the best of it. I'm fishing this on one of the Anura Series 6-scale rods. This is their heavy action frog rod. 7'5", got a nice long handle to it. It's perfect for throwing that topwater hollow belly frog like my boom boom frog. And for years I'd use 65-pound braided line. And I've downsized, for the most part, I still use some 65, but to 50-pound. I use the Cortland Master Braid. That allows you to make really long casts, and you can hold more line on your reel, of course, but it allows you to work the bait a lot easier. Look, something's moving right there. I don't know. There we go. That one just sucked it under. Man, that one didn't even come up and blow up on it, just sucked it under. You know, a lot of people don't think of throwing a frog early spring. Water temperature starts climbing that mid-50s, tie one on. You'll be surprised what you can catch. I promise you, I've caught some big fish in some key events over the years, throwing a frog before most guys even think of throwing a frog. There's a little fella. Let's see if there's a female with you.